Yo, what up? Welcome to this video. Happiness is homemade. No, I'm just playing. I am Sean Martin, and in this video, I'm going to share with you my full story. I'm an entrepreneur. I am 23 years old. I am from Connecticut in the United States, which is pretty much right above New York. I have no script. I really have no real agenda for this video overall, but I make this in an attempt to share my story, connect with you. My biggest motivational goal is I always want to be building relationships with like-minded individuals. Period. Everywhere I go, I'm always trying to not necessarily make friends, but just add value to people and understand how I can help them and connect and build relationships with people that are worth it. Plain fucking simple. Okay. So to start, let me take you back to high school. I was in high school from 2017 to 2021. So when I was a junior, we went through like all that COVID bullshit. And high school was different for me. And I say that because for me, high school, I went to a trade school, right? So that means I spent half my time in high school in like academics, normal shit, and I spent the other half at a trade. Now, kind of a coincidence now looking back. It's 5 years at this point, but my trade in high school was health technology, and it basically set us up and prepped us to become like a nursing assistant. I kind of took a different approach. I went and became an EMT. Those are the people you see on the ambulance that help people in an emergency. I was doing that for a little while, and then I ended up graduating high school, and I moved down south where the pay was like a quarter of what it was to be an EMT up here. So I was forced to get a job, something that kind of I didn't really want to do. I actually enjoyed being an EMT, but anyway, I was forced to get a job, and I ended up working for these two brothers that own an Italian restaurant. If you don't notice, I am Italian myself. I ended up working for these two brothers, and I just always was getting into like little like mini fights, but overall always bullshit with one of the brothers because me and him were very much alike. And kind of come to find out, he was very much into like day trading at the time. He says when like Robinhood was first popping, like penny stocks were flying. That this was kind of like that time overall. But more or less, I started working that job. The guy that I also pick fights with, the one that was also day trading, he was also a very big weed dealer. So I started selling dope for him. I started selling pop. I'll get into that a little bit more here in a second. Crazy story with all of that. And basically, that little intro into day trading and online money was my entrance into entrepreneurship. Now, I even knew back in high school, I wanted to have something of my own. I wanted to, be who I wanted to be, do what I wanted to do, right? Kind of like all that freedom stuff. And what happened was I ended up leaving that restaurant job probably after about 3 or 4 months because I just got fed up, saw the money he was making. It was just like, fuck it. If he can do it, I can do it, right? And then I kind of started doing day trading just to give you some context. In the 3 months after I left that job, this was around like late fall of summer, right? Like late summer, fall of 2021, right before Bitcoin hit like that first like 65, 69,000 in the bull market of November 2021. It was a few months before that. And mind you, the 3 months after I left the restaurant job, I was driving Uber Eats, making $1,000 a week. I was selling weed while I was doing that. I was drop shipping. I had a general store. I also had like a branded store. At the same time, I was also day trading, like I told you that guy was like on Robinhood. I also spent $8,000 savings that I had into like a crypto hedge fund mastermind, which was actually my entrance really into entrepreneurship and networking and understanding business and very high level people, hundreds of millions of dollars within this mastermind. So I was doing like crypto, like blockchain, like yield farming type of stuff. Then I was also doing like stock options. At the same time, I was also like making like those YouTube videos, where like it was like the black screen with like the rain. I was doing that. And needless to say, I was doing about 6 or 7 different things at once, just trying to make it. And that was pretty much like, again, end of 2021, fall, end of it, pretty much going into 2022. And then from then, that was pretty much entrepreneurship for me. So I drove Uber. That's how I made my money. I was trying anything and everything. Fast forward about 8 months, I had moved back up north to where I'm from now. Just didn't really work out down south. Got another job. And probably between that and probably the next 6 months after that, I probably had 4 or 5 jobs, got fired from them for like stupid shit. I was really good at my job, and then I just get a bit too comfortable, get too friendly with people, and I would do something that'd get me in trouble and I'd get fired. That's typically how it would go. So I had these jobs, right? Nothing really worked out. I was kind of driving Uber Eats once again, doing my thing. After that, I came back up here. I was like, you know what? I can't live at home. Nothing's really working out for me. I kind of just got to figure something out and just like move out. Like the time is now. And I was about like 2021 at the time. So I ended up moving to Dallas with two of my boys. So there was three of us. We were all roommates and we were all working for the same company that was basically teaching the dropshipping course that I had bought down when I was living down south. I ended up becoming a mentor or a coach, not because I was good at it, but because I was just a good coach and I knew what I was talking about. So me and my buddies all had the same job. So we moved down to Dallas where their headquarters were. and we were coaches. We'd go into like some kind of hybrid office that they had, kind of work from home, right? Smoke pot, just not really do a lot of like partying, but smoke pot, just have fun. I did like mug mode for like 3 months at a time. I slept on the floor, um, cook all my own food. Like it was a great, really first experience, and it was very good. And then again, nothing was really kind of working out for me. And I ended up getting into my first sales gig. So I ended up leaving that ecom mentorship thing I was doing coaching for, and I ended up doing appointment setting for a friend of a friend through that crypto mastermind that I met, to where I got to a point where he was basically selling an offer that was very hot back in 2022. And it was, you can leave your 9 to 5. If you have a skill, you can monetize and turn that skill into a coaching business. So I was appointment setting for him. And like, you don't even understand. I was so bad at something so simple for so fucking long. Like they paid me out like $1,000 twice just so I could pay my bills. And I need to make that in commissions in 1 month. And it was healthy commissions. So I was very bad for a long time. But anyway, I did that. That lasted about 7 or 8 months. Then I got fired from that because I got caught smoking weed on a sales team meeting. So I got fired from that. And then from there, I ended up basically doing appointment setting and part-time closing for the buddy of mine that referred me to that coach I got fired from. I started closing for him, and he had his own crypto mastermind, a hedge fund. So I started setting appointments and closing for him. That lasted about 3, 4 months between he kind of pivoted his business, and there wasn't really room necessary for me left, or it just didn't make sense with where they were taking the business. So then I had pretty much finished with that. And then from there, I pretty much came back home. I've traveled to places like Mexico. I've been to Barcelona. I have been to Colombia. I've been all over the US for different networking events. I've done quite a bit of traveling, not crazy amount, but quite a bit of it. All of it was funded through stuff I had made in crypto, the little bit that I did. A lot of it was also just financed through credit cards and debt. And I would do some co-living with my boys. Sometimes I'd be living alone at Airbnbs, and I probably spend, around, I don't know, I probably spent maybe like 8 to 9 months in all these different places combined out traveling until I was broke. Um, then ended up right before I left Mexico, I ended up becoming an SDR for seventh level with Jeremy Miner, and then there I was doing pretty well. I was already so broke and so much up to debt. And I spent $9,000 finance. I don't know even how I got approved um, on an NEPQ 3.0, and I bought that. And then I was just ruthless in the trainings. So I ended up actually being asked to become hired. So I got hired by them, and I started doing that, and it went pretty well. And I was getting better. I was doing all the training. And then I pretty much hit a point where I like completely burn out. I couldn't really take any calls because at this time I was setting, and then the calls I'd set, I'd also close. So when this pretty much happened, I was in this kind of in between place where I was kind of making a little bit of money, but I wasn't really making too much money. My skill set was probably at like intermediate. It wasn't great. And I was obviously a bit more than a beginner with my experience so far, to the point where literally I just pretty much quit. And I was just like, hey guys, like I honestly feel like shit. I feel burned out. I can't show up. I can't do this. I'm crawling in debt. I need to go back home, and I need to kind of get my life together and figure it out. And it was cool. We all parted ways. It was good to go. And that was like the real last sales kind of specific job that I had. And only until recently, about 2 weeks ago, I'm now part time on a friend's offer of mine, doing part time setting and closing. But I say all that to say, um, I've been through a lot to get here. I have led crypto masterminds and hedge funds, talking and doing Zoom calls and leading Zoom calls with people worth over $400 million. I've built, or excuse me, I helped found a crypto company from the ground up. I hire people from Google, ex people from Airbnb, Yahoo. I hired people, onboarded people, fired people. I ran operations for that company. That crypto startup really didn't get anywhere because the investor ended up pulling out because the development was just taking too long, which that's what happens when you develop code. The roadmap always gets pretty much delayed. But I've done that. Oh, I've also been to Brazil as well. Um, I had this beautiful girl in Brazil. She was awesome. But yeah, so needless to say, like I've been around the block, right? Like I have experience, I've been in the game, I've understood how 10, $20 million a year operations work to an extent. I know how to build them. But while I was going through this whole journey, this was like my college degree, right? So these 4 years, I was traveling, I was working at these different businesses, whether it was marketing, sales, leadership, CSM, operations, whatever it was. I was learning everything from companies already successful, seventh level, that coaching business, my buddy's crypto mastermind, building that crypto startup. I had quite a bit of experience in a lot of successful companies. And what I would do is think about like a tradesman, right? Think about if he has like a tool belt and all the different tools on him. I started to see entrepreneurship in these different places I was working for, whether it was only for 3 months or 9 months or 12 months. I started seeing them as tools. So in the crypto company that I was building, right? I learned operations, I learned hiring, I learned onboarding, and I learned leadership there. In my first sales job, I pretty much learned more about communication, right? I learned about sales, I learned about psychology, I learned about like client success, how to keep people happy. And other things, I learned more about marketing. I learned about positioning, right? I learned just more about framing and things overall, so much more. And I saw those all as little tools on my tool belt to then get to a point to where once I pretty much left seventh level and I wasn't setting, I wasn't closing anymore. I didn't think I had everything, but I knew I had enough. I was adequate in what I had, and I had a very vast network from other traveling I did, crypto, everything, to finally build something of my own and be in a place where it wasn't going to be easy, but I could pull it off. It would just probably be a lot harder than it would be for most people. So that's what I did. I started my coaching business, which was health coaching for sales reps. I started that a little over a year ago. It has been really rough. It has been a tough journey. I have not had a lot of paying clients. I've taken on a lot of people for free. I've added tons of value. I've got testimonials for it. I'm very happy that I did it. I absolutely do not take it back. Unfortunately, I don't do a lot of things like full scale coaching. Like I don't do all of that for free now, obviously because I paid my dues. I've been in the trenches. I've put in a lot of work and not had a dime for it. Even people that made promises, they always let them down. But it has been a hard journey to get here. And I was somebody that has endured hard stuff, has tried to figure it out, has failed time and time again, is still actively failing as I'm talking to you on this camera. Things are still very hard for me. I've had a little bit of a rough go with my family the past year. Unfortunately, my father's had a stroke last year. Before that, 10 years prior to that, he had 4 seizures. My mom has some mental health issues. Recently, in the past month, I had some anxiety, panic attack things going related, even yes, to the health coach. So I say all that to say that I'm not perfect. I am a human just like you, but I absolutely love coaching. Coaching is my passion. I love being a mentor to others. I love seeing other people succeed. I love when people just shut up and they actually listen from somebody that has gone through and wants to save them the pitfall of them going through it. I love leading people. I love seeing people get results. And I love being me, providing value, seeing that impact, and being able to scale that shit to the fucking moon. That's what I love. And that's pretty much how I got into a place now where, as somebody that has been in the sales game, has been in the entrepreneurship game now for a little over 4 years, since pretty much February of 2022. Here we are, February of 2026. I've been in the game now pretty much 4 years, maybe like a few months more. And now I have something of my own, right? It's on its way to being profitable. And I've spent time in the sales game. So I understand what setting is like. I understand what closing is like. I understand what dialing is, what cold calling is, all of that stuff. And I lived that life. I burnt out. Health has always been a passion of mine, as I told you from some family events. Health has always kind of been something very important because I've seen how quick we can lose it, even when you're quote unquote healthy. And then I went down that rabbit hole after I burned out because I came home, didn't really have a lot of expenses, just a whole lot of debt. And I started going down the rabbit hole, the gym, the performance, the routines, the habits, the blood work, the hormones, neuroscience, all of that stuff. And that led me to a place to where I now full time coach high ticket closers and high ticket setters on how to unlock peak performance sustainably so they can wake up every day sharp, energized, refreshed, never have to worry about burnout, and pretty much just show up and be the absolute best that they can be, feel the absolute best that they can be, and have that lifestyle and that identity transformation that allows them to get those results far after we work together. The system that I made is called OptiLife. It's a system that is designed through results. It's data driven. Everything is tracked. It's just one-on-one coaching with me. Essentially, I am the product. I do have systems. I have frameworks. I have all that stuff, and I love it. But I am the product. I'm a living representation of what I preach, what I do. I've been through the trenches. I've been through shit. I love what I do. I love people. I love helping people get the results that is exactly what they come to me for. And I honestly would not change it for the world. So it's definitely been a crazy ride to get here, and there is so much more ahead. But if you're honestly still watching this video, um, I really don't know what to say. I might just say thank you. Um, this is not one of those videos that is meant to give views. This is one of those videos that I just want to tell you about me. Of course, I have something to sell, as I just said, right? But at the end of the day, my friend, people will always buy the coach, and then they will buy the coaching. I have actually never had a paying client that I've hopped on a call with, and we weren't already a fit, like chemistry and personal alignment and values wise. I've never really had like a bad call with like somebody. And I think that's because maybe I don't have a lot of leads, but the people that really resonate with me, we do very, very, very magical, beautiful work together. And just a little bit more about me, like I'm a very straight up, no nonsense, no bullshit, get the fuck up and do the work type of guy. My father was a Marine, my mother was an immigrant. Kind of gives you a bit of a background on me. And I value the traditional values that I was brought up with: honesty, integrity, transparency, respect, loyalty. These things that seem to just be gone in today's generation. Those are the things that I admire. Those are the things that I respect. Those are my core values. I'm a very simple guy. I put people first. I'm health driven. I'm value driven. I'm results driven. And I'm all about experiences, moments, adding value to others, making a genuine fucking impact. And once again, just scaling that to the fucking moon. So that is my story. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, I could not cover every single detail that's in there, but if we do have the pleasure of working together, uh, we'll learn tons more about each other in the process. If you do want to learn a bit more about what I do in particular, how I help sales reps optimize their health to beat burnout and unlock peak performance, you can just click the link down below. That'll either take you to my calendar, or you can book one-on-one to chat with me, see how I can help you, or just to my landing page where you can, again, learn more about me, the people I've helped, how I help them, the process, the system, etc., X, Y, and Z. And again, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for hearing out my story. And feel free to also hit me up on Instagram. That'll also be in the link in the description. Let's connect. Let's chop it up. And I hope you watch more of my videos, and I hope I get the chance to meet you, because it's a pleasure and it's a privilege to do what I do. And I would be stoked to have you on the journey with me. Peace.